The cult of flying spaghetti monster, ladies and gentlemen. We put the fun in fundamentalists. We put the rad and radicalized religion, the one true cult on this earth. The cult of flying spaghetti monster. Join today. Please do step right up if you have any questions. I'm a real and licensed minestrone of the cult of flying spaghetti monster. I've been an accredited minestrone since the day of May 2, 2016. On my card here we use the Christian numbering system. Again, Christianity has infiltrated my every waking moment of my life, uninvited. I, however, don't use Anno Domini as my indicator of year. I use the human era, HE, which requires that you add 10,000 years to your reckoning. And when you do this, you realize the age of this earth and the age that it will be before it is no more. You realize the arc, the timeline of this planet that we live on, and that its age will eclipse our sad, measly existence like a mountain looks at an ant. You and I, of course, are the ant. I don't know if you know about Gorsuch. You know Gorsuch, Colorado native. He was born in the year 1968, I think, 67. He's from here. Went to school here. Here in this state where the Ten Commandments sits on public land. And he sits now on the highest judgment seat of the land with a contorted and warped view of cynics and reality. He believes because he saw. He grew up in a country, in a state where it was true that the Ten Commandments was revered on public land, even though it is a religious idea and mythological in nature. For 50 years it sits in front of the state capitol, the Ten Commandments on public land. What shall we talk about today, ladies and gentlemen? Babylon. Sinful heathen Jerusalem with your blood sacrifices, your child sacrifices. You sacrifice your children on the altar to your blood god as young as possible. Cut their dicks when they're very young. Your whole life, ladies and gentlemen, someone's been poisoning your brain with disinformation. Unfortunately, there's falsehoods and lies in your head programmed in there. It's very difficult for a mind to discern the difference between the truth and a lie that has been repeated too many times. It's what they count on to control you. But you must remove the disinformation that's in there. The programming's in your head, causing you to do things, informing your reactions. These mythologies and these falsehoods are causing you to react in a way that you wouldn't otherwise, in a way that you might find immoral if you hadn't been programmed such. Many of my friends, compatriots, who find themselves unable to believe in the mythology presented to them in the Bible anymore, wonder what is the use of religion. If it's so false, if it's such hurt and poison can be done in the name of good, why even try at all? But we are all unfortunately religious. There's no way to avoid it. We are a ritualistic people. We love our rituals for various reasons. But you can't deny it, that your rituals control you and that you control your rituals. And you define your time through it. Living on a clock causes these things. When you see the hands line up, you all celebrate. When the moon is extremely full, it's easier to hunt the game at night, and you all celebrate. We are a ritualistic animal. And unfortunately, when we cut out religion, it's a baby in the bathwater situation. We've thrown away all the ritual that we use to connect us to each other. And these rituals cause religion. There's no other way around it. Your rituals are your religion. The things that you do religiously are your religious sacraments, and control them. Don't let them control you. Decide what will you do each week religiously. Decide how you will worship with your time. Decide which gods you will worship religiously. I'm in the business of challenging faith in false gods. The only way that we can help a myth believer wake is to show them the inadequacies of their God, the lies of their God. To challenge their faith. The one way to cure people of the mythology that has been programmed into them since they were young, by their society, by their loving parents, by humans who you should have been able to trust. Hi ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Schizophrenic Mitch. We've been patronized again. We've had our third Patronium show up. The Whore of Babylon has decided to help us bring truth to the myth believers. Click the link below to join them. The first Pastafarian cult of YouTube. I can cure your family of the religion that holds it in its tyrannical grasp. The poisonous religion that seeps into this country, that takes over this once great secular country. This country with its Religious Freedom Task Force. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you, they're not on my side. The Religious Freedom Task Force will not assist me in doing what I would like to do religiously. They will not be on my side, they will be on the side of the bakers, ladies and gentlemen, that live here in our town and wish the religious freedom to refuse services to those detestable homosexuals. That is who the Religious Freedom Task Force is going to assist. They've said so clearly through their microphones that it's for Jack Phillips that they make this Religious Freedom Task Force, to help the religious majority in their quest to take over this secular nation, a Ten Commandments monument on our public land for 50 years. Let's tell the Religious Freedom Task Force that that's where they should start. Removing religious emblems from public land. Stand against the tyrannical blood gods of the Iron Age. Understand that we have seen the story of Moses' mythology. We have proved it. There is no evidence of this. The Book of Mormon is mythology. We have proved this. And belief in mythology poisons your morality. Cleanse your mind of mythology. Worship reality, for it is worthy of your worship. Reality alone. The one true cult on this earth, the cult of Flying Spaghetti Monster. Worship reality with us. Love what we have instead of long for mythology. Don't condemn the reality that we all must survive in. Enjoy the playground we have, don't condemn it. It is not a fallen Eden, ladies and gentlemen, but a rising hell. Let us together turn this place into the heaven that all of our children deserve. Against the blood gods of ancient past. Against the Bronze Age war gods that we worship and put on our public land. The Ten Commandments does not protect children. The Ten Commandments does not protect women. The Ten Commandments treats women like property. Yet there it sits on public land for 50 years. Longer than you or I have been alive. Longer than our Supreme Court Justice has been alive. Gorsuch, who sits on the highest court of the land, has lived his whole life in a state where the Ten Commandments monument sits on public land in violation of the separation of church and state that this great country holds dear. The one true cult on this earth, the cult of Flying Spaghetti Monster. Are you a Pastafarian? The first Pastafarian cult of YouTube. Join today. The cure for holy war. The one true cult on this earth. Hello, you're a Pastafarian?
I'm a what?
Are you a Pastafarian? Have you heard of the flying spaghetti monster?
Very interesting. No, I haven't.
My YouTube information's on there. You can learn all about it and not keep up your friends. Yeah, YouTube at the Dork Shop.
Cool.
And you can hear my sermons there. I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I'd love to see your comments online.
What got you into flying spaghetti monster?
I was raised in a very cultic religion, and it did damage to my life and the life of my family, and generational damage as well. And I think that one of the best ways to free this planet from the sort of myth believing that it's doing is to sort of challenge the oldest, sort of weakest faith that we have, and realize that our belief is ours to iterate, and we can't trust those who came before us to know as much as we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, hours and hours more on there, and you don't have to hold it with your friends, but we can talk as long as you want. You can. Yeah. What's your name?
I'm Sam.
Sam.
What's your name?
Mitch.
Mitch. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So in trying to debunk faiths that have gone before you, you are kind of bringing about a farcical cult by saying, and that's what I assume the flying spaghetti monster is, right?
It's viewed often as satirical, yeah. But there can be an argument made that that's sort of what Muhammad was doing. There's an argument made that's sort of what Joseph Smith was doing, was bringing, and you can say that Jesus did that as well, that he took sort of the religion of his time and sort of set up a satirical iteration of it that said, you're looking for a Messiah that's coming in blood and glory and war, but you have instead this Messiah who's coming as a lamb. You can see that idea as sort of satirical as well. The television show Office, right, is a satirical television show, but it's a real show, as it were. So we do have satirical flavors to it, and the mysteries are easily addressed with ridiculousness, of course, and so we do point to that quite a bit. And to sort of illustrate that the things that should influence our morality are sort of those things that we can all sort of agree on, and not the furthest out there stuff.
That's interesting. And so the basis of your belief system is, and I'm not going to say cult because I don't think that you would describe yourself as a cult. I think, would you say that this is kind of a hook, and you're just going off of more of an ideology?
But I think the hook is genuine in this case, in that very quickly these groups that we and these ideologies that we build sort of become infused with these cultic ideas. It's very dangerous, and so those people that are denying that they're cults sort of do it at their own peril, and embracing the idea is sort of how we should do it. Sort of the same with satirical.
But not so with you, right?
Pardon?
But not so. Well, I'm just kind of seeing the difference in yours versus them.
Who's them?
The religions that you're debunking.
The ones that I'm against, because they rely heavily on dogma, and we have a dogma in our religion, but the only dogma is that we have no dogma. So that sort of contradiction is real, like as a believer and choosing what I ought to believe, because we all are believers. God can be seen as that which we fill in the gaps of our understanding. It can be seen as sort of the X in algebra, right? And so we put flying spaghetti monster there so that we don't take it too seriously, because quickly and easily these sort of counter these revolutionary ideas, like the character of Christ was talking about, like don't kill the prostitutes, love your neighbor, turn the other cheek. These revolutionary ideas become cultic after a generation or two and get sort of crusty. And so each of us should realize that religion's lifespan is a bit less than ours, and we should all iterate our beliefs currently. We can be informed by the beliefs of others, but if we take them too seriously, we are in very danger of doing something that, like idol worshipping, is sort of an idea that it reflects that the society that I was sixth generation in the church that I was in, and so the society handed it to me because it was so valuable, but 6 generations ago it was, and so today we need another one. We need to iterate it.
Could one make a case that your idol has become yourself? in the sense of, and I'm not trying to argue, I'm just kind of pushing back to have the conversation. So your idol has become yourself in the sense of we have been having a culmination of knowledge of people coming before us, and we are using that to move past faith systems and belief systems that are more archaic based on how we see them now from where they have been, because a lot of the major world religions were developed thousands of years ago. And so could both humanity, the self, and basically one's ability to define reality as itself become the idol there? Or, and I guess a big question that I have is the big difference I see between what you have and what they have is a lot of times the big world religions, a lot of it's based on positive, and I think yours is very interesting because it's based on negative.
A reaction.
A reaction and moving towards positive. And so what are the big truths for you? And you've talked about that a little bit.
Some of the big truths are there's a couple. One of them is, if we believe in prophets, then we ought to believe that we are all prophets. It's one of that if the creator of this reality is impressing upon one of us some ideas, the selection process is arbitrary and probably not as restrictive as we are allowing it to be. That each of these facets of humanity is sort of Christ is when you see the poor, when you see the hungry, when you feed the hungry, you're feeding me.
And so, are you saying that each person is image of God, is a God in himself or herself, or is that more that all of us can relate to God in the same way?
That his love of one cannot be more than the other, because that if he speaks to one, he speaks to all.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that the scripture that you would write is as valuable as any scriptures that you would receive from another generation, and probably more insightful because of the things that you know that they couldn't.
Yeah. That
modern scripture is valuable, and that we're all capable of writing it. That's sort of the idea, is that we're each prophets, is one of the ideas. Another one is that many people who fall out of the beliefs that they were raised in have a sort of baby with the bathwater reaction, that they perhaps don't like this certain aspect of religion, and so cut out all of the things that seem religious. And unfortunately, religion shows that we are religious people, that rituals and the connections that we have to families and these ideas are real and repeating and are valuable and useful and religious. There's you can't be non-religious.
Right.
You can aspire to be non-religious, but you still have rituals and you still have those things that you want to believe that sort of you can't prove. And that's okay, and we all should understand what we choose to believe and why we choose to believe it. Right. The better we look at our own personal beliefs, the more moral our decisions will be, and that a morality handed to us from a generation or more ago isn't as trustworthy as the conscience and communication that we're able to achieve presently.
Does the validity and the credibility of a faith that has been handed to us change based on this generation, or can that faith be the same and can that have the same credibility, but we just have to accept it? Because I totally agree, each person would be equally loved by God. Each person needs to be able to decide for him or herself on faith. And so, based off of that doesn't really negate past faith, but would determine how one would react to faith presently. And so, where does the difference between past faith and current faith come in, other than one has to be able to choose for oneself and process it, really delve into it?
That the important part of the equation is the one, that we are handed information from the past, but there's no way to escape the reality that the individual is responsible for their own morality. That however much we want to sort of be like, I'm obedient to a good God, the argument, I feel it's wrong, is the strong argument, right? The idea of what would you do if the God of the Bible came and asked you to kill your kid? A lot of people generally say, that time's over, he wouldn't ask it of me, I don't think I'd be able to do it, things like this. Some of them say I should be able to in the service of my God if he does ask me, but that feeling of like, would I do it?
Yeah.
Probably not. Probably it wouldn't be needed of me. That feeling is sort of where the responsibility lays. That however much we try to say that I'm obedient, it really is, we must take the responsibility that we are responsible for our morality. Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love how you are calling people to think for themselves.
Yeah.
And process this.
Thank you. Have we got your name?
Sam.
Sam.
I'd love to get a meal with you or sit down about this.
Cool.
And talk more.
Cool. I come down every week or so on Friday. My YouTube information's here. You can send a comment there, and yeah, we can continue this conversation at any time.
Can I get your phone number or something? If that's okay.
No, yeah, I just have to get a pen. Yeah.
Okay.
Over here.